What's the real cost of going on a Princess cruise? I'm Gary Bembridge of Tips for Travellers. I'm on board the Royal Princess, and in this video I'm going to talk about what's included in your fare and what's not included in your fare. So what is included in your fare? First of all, your accommodation, whatever type of cabin you've booked, whether that's an inside cabin right through to a suite. The second thing that's included is your food. So you're able to eat pretty much 24 hours a day within your fare. So what's covered is your breakfast, your lunch and your dinner. And you can eat your dinner in one of the included dining rooms. So for example, on the Royal Princess, you have the Symphony, the Allegro, and you have the Concerto. You also have the Horizon Court, which is a buffet dining restaurant. You have 24-hour room service, and also you have afternoon tea. There's a 24-hour dining option, which is called the International Cafe down in the atrium. There is food appropriate to the time of day served here. You'll also get iced tea, lemonade, water, non-specialty coffees, and teas included within your fare. The third thing that's included is your entertainment. So every night in the theatre there's a big production show or a guest entertainer. There's a number of events including the Captain's Welcome Champagne, waterfall reception. Outside on deck there's movies under the stars. There's also a daily program full of events which are in the morning, the afternoon and the evening. This could range from all sorts of things like quizzes, trivia, ice carving demonstrations, culinary demonstrations. There'll also be a whole series of enrichment activities. So for example, there might be a guest lecturer talking about the ports or history around the places that you're visiting. The fourth thing that's included is access to pretty much all of the facilities and amenities on board. So you can use the swimming pools, go to the library, you can of course use all the bars, you can go to the clubs. The fifth thing that's included in your fare is a whole lot of fitness activities. So there's a very large and expansive fitness centre. There's also a running track, for example, on the Royal Princess. There are free Zumba classes held in the atrium, and there are sports decks and various activities and events throughout the day on the daily programme. The sixth thing that's included is the kids clubs. Now there's a number of kids clubs and they're zoned around different age groups. There will be programs run in the morning, the afternoon and the evenings. There are a few things that are additional charge. So for example, if you want late night babysitting, there is a charge for that. So then what's not included in your fare? What are you likely to be spending on top of your fare once you're on your cruise? Now the first thing that's not included in your fare are gratuities. Now if you're booking your fare and traveling from Australia, your gratuities will actually be included within the overall fare. However, if you're traveling from somewhere else and if you've booked your fare from somewhere else, there will be gratuities to pay. Now you can either pay these in advance before you board the ship, or they will be auto added onto your bill on board. Now gratuities at the time of recording range from $13.50 per person per day if you're an inside cabin or an ocean view or a balcony, up to $15.50 per person if you're in a suite. Now these gratuities cover everybody on board with the following exceptions. When you buy drinks at any of the bars or clubs, you will have a 15% gratuity added to that. If you use the spa, you will also have 15% added, and also the youth club members and the casino do not share in the gratuity. So if you want to tip those people separately, then you need to do that because it's not included within your gratuities. Now the second thing to think about that's not included in your fare is drink. As I mentioned, there are some drinks on board, so non-specialty tea and coffee is included, lemonade, iced tea and water is included. However, if you want to drink anything else, whether it's alcohol, beer, spirits, soft drinks, you're going to have to pay for those on board. Now what's very important is you're allowed to bring on board one bottle of wine or champagne, nothing else. You can't bring on board beers or spirits, and your luggage will be screened, and if you buy it, for example, when you head on excursions, you will not be allowed to bring that on board. It will be kept to one side and given to you at the end of the cruise. What is on offer is a number of different drinks packages. So if you're thinking about drinking on board, whether it's alcohol, soft drinks, or you want specialty coffees, take a look at the various drinks packages that are available and see if that's going to save you money versus paying for them ad hoc. There's a number of different packages, and these include beer-only packages, soft drink-only packages, and then ultimately there is a premier package which costs $59.99 per person per day at the time of recording, and this includes cocktails, wine, beer, bottled water, tea, fountain soda, specialty coffees. So take a look at the different drinks packages and work out if that's one way of saving you money. So the third thing to think about is excursions. You're going to be calling at lots of different ports, and you probably want to go and explore those ports. Excursions can range from relatively inexpensive excursions, $20, $30, $40, right through to very expensive excursions, which could cost hundreds of dollars. For example, in Alaska, many of the excursions are very expensive. In the Caribbean, it may be less expensive. So it's very important to take a look at the ports you're calling on and look at the different excursions and what that could cost. You have a number of options, one of which you can use the cruise line excursions. The big plus of those is if any of them run late, the ship will wait for you. You can use independent providers. Of course, you can then self-explore, use things like hop-on, hop-off buses. The other thing that's important to note is Princess Cruises will normally run a shuttle bus to the nearest town if it's not walkable. There is normally, though, a charge for that shuttle bus. Now, the next area that may cost you money is dining. Now, I've already mentioned that you can pretty much eat 24 hours a day on board within your fare. However, there is a number of specialty dining options on board, and they do have costs associated with them. So perhaps if you're on board for a special event, a birthday or an anniversary, you may want to go to one of those specialty restaurants. Now, they can cost anything from around $30 per person. So for example, some of the specialty dining restaurants includes things like Sabatini's, an Italian restaurant, the Ocean Terrace Seafood Bar, Crab Shack, the Crown Grill, which is a steak and seafood specialty restaurant. Gelato, you can get free soft serve ice cream up in the Horizon Court, but if you want specific gelato. I often get asked by people if Wi-Fi is included on cruises. The answer on Princess is it is not, with a slight exception. If you're one of their premium passengers and have a lot of loyalty, there's various incentives and discounts. There are various packages that you can buy, which can range from about 100 minutes for about $69. If you're buying just a pay-as-you-go, it can cost as much as 75 cents a minute. Now, the next area is something I get asked about a lot, and that's laundry and dry cleaning. Now, on Princess, if you're in a suite, you do have laundry and dry cleaning included. However, for most people, it is not included. Now, the great news is there are laundry rooms dotted around the ship, and these are pretty big. There is a cost for using them, but it's not very much. Now, the next thing to think about is a whole bunch of things that you're going to be encouraged to spend money on board. Things like the spas, or you may want to go to the very large casino. There's also a lot of shops on board Princess Cruises, ranging from watches, clothing, branded merchandise, chocolates. Now, one of the very popular things that people do spend money on board and often don't budget for is photographs. At various formal events, various parties, the photography team will come around and take pictures with you boarding when you get off at different ports. And a lot of people like to buy the photographs, and they are relatively expensive. Now, I often get asked, are fitness classes included in your fare? The answer is largely no. You have access to the fitness center and you have your Zumba classes, which are completely free. However, other classes there is a charge for. Now, one very important thing that you do need to bear in mind that's not included in your fare, and it's something you probably don't want to think about, is medical. Now, there is a very well-manned medical center on board. Now, if you go to the medical center, it's just relatively expensive. It's a bit like private healthcare. Now, if you fall very ill and have to get evacuated, that could be very, very expensive. There is potentially a very large medical bill that's not included in your fare. So one of the things you should absolutely do, I believe, is take out travel insurance. When you take out travel insurance, make sure that it covers cruises, because if there is a major issue and they need to get you off the ship and you have to be evacuated or left behind in a port with you and your family, you're going to have to look after yourself and you're going to have to work out how you get repatriated home. I'd strongly recommend make sure you take out travel insurance. So when you go on a Princess cruise, your fare covers a lot of things. Your accommodation, you can eat 24 hours a day. There's lots of access to facilities. There's lots of things that are included, but there's also a whole bunch of things that are not included within your fare. So when you go on a Princess cruise, bear in mind the fare is not the real and final cost of going on a Princess cruise. There is a whole bunch of other costs. Now, depending on how you like to cruise, what you like to spend your money on, how much you like to drink, how much you want to party, how much you want to use Wi-Fi, that could very much differ and change by individual. But that's the real cost of a Princess cruise. Look what the fare includes and all of those 9 things and decide how many of them you're likely to want to use. That's going to become the real cost of your Princess cruise. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, I'd love it if you liked the video. But most important of all, please watch my other videos about Princess cruises and subscribe to Tips for Travelers and get more travel inspiration, advice, and tips.